You goddamn right. Fellas, Filettis, welcome to the Gabbin' and the Game. It's good to see everybody. I appreciate you being here and spending some time with me. Yes, I'm chewing gum, but I'm going to tell you what's happening with the gum. And I'm going to spit it out, or I'm going to actually swallow it in just a second. Because, hang on. I'm waiting for this goddamn video to end. Because here's what's up. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. It's not, oh, fuck off, Ricardo Torres. We'll get to it, baby. He says, excellent clickbait, Jaffe. It's not clickbait. Okay. Settle in, baby. Settle in.
How dare you?
Yeah, I know, huh? How about this one? This is my favorite.
We're just normal men. Just innocent men.
I can't help but be racist. It's true. All right, here we go. People are like, what the fuck, Jaffe, is this? I'm settling. This is what happens when I'm on time for the show. Hang on. I'm going to swallow it. Because all the Halloween candy, you can't really see it with the lighting, but that bowl back there, I just went kind of Halloween crazy this weekend, and I got all kinds of candy and gum and shit like that. Listen, that's a little too high up. I got to fix that. Alex S., thank you for being a member for 6 months, buddy. I appreciate it. He says, Jaffe, will we see a Spider-Man 2 review from you soon? Yes, you will. Potentially even this week. So, welcome to Gabbin' and Games. Apologies for the delay. Okay. So, we are going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, and I want to remind you guys that unless my internet goes out again, but I do think I've got that all repaired, after the main show, we're going to take like a 5-minute break. I'll put some music on, and we will roll right into the Gabbin' Games after party. It'll be part of this stream so everybody can watch it. However, as a reminder, if you're a Cult of Calypso member or a God of War member or a mod, you can join us in the Cult of Calypso room, and it's kind of a roundtable discussion about a bunch of topics that don't make it into the main show. So that's coming up. All right. Also, later tonight, that's not it. Where is it? That's not it either. Well, here's the point. At 5 o'clock tonight, I will be on Colt Eastwood's show. So that'll be a live podcast that I will be on with him at 5 o'clock California time. So if you can't get enough of me, and I know your mom can't, hey.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Then stick around for Gabbin' Games, then the after party, then the Colt Eastwood show. That will be great to see you guys and ladies over there. Okay. Listen to this. I want to talk about Connie Booth leaving Sony right at the very beginning of the show, because I feel maybe I did a poor job explaining the context of this story. Okay. So, because what happened was last night I tweeted out that, hey, there's this big news coming about Sony, and I had it verified by 2 Sony people. I don't even like the word sources because I'm not a journalist. I don't pretend to be one. But I know people at Sony still, and 2 people reached out and said, hey, Jaffe, here's what's going on. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to talk about it until some actual reporter breaks it, because it's just not my story to break. But then I started hearing it from 2 people outside of Sony. And then I was like, okay, fuck it. It's out there, right? Which is Connie Booth, producer at Sony before they were even PlayStation. It was called Sony ImageSoft. In fact, I think it was before it was Sony ImageSoft. It was called something else. But she's one of the first employees there when they got into interactivity from 1989. I met her when I was first a tester. We all had crushes in the test department on Connie because she looked like Sharon Stone at the time. I'm sure she knew everybody had a crush on her, but it is what it is. But anyway, the point is that she has been you know, here's what. First, let me get you some clarification. You know me and Jason Schreier, little Jason S. I'm not a fan of the guy. He's clearly not a fan of mine, I assume. But he has confirmed it. I assume somebody would write a story about this by now. But, you know, I've heard everything from Connie and her team, which I'll talk about in a second, were literally walked out of the building. I've only heard Connie, though. I've seen a bunch of people who work with her kind of like posts that I've done and like post about this, as in kind of almost like sort of confirming, but not really. I understand that a big email went out to a bunch of the Sony folks over the weekend to kind of confirm this. Well, here's Jason Schreier saying, all we've got from proper press, as much as I don't like the guy, he is proper press. By the way, Jason says this guy at DT7, is it true Connie Booth left or was fired from PlayStation? And all he said was yes. So I don't know when the actual news, and it is news, is going to drop from an actual reporter, but we will, I'll keep you abreast. But I want to talk about it a little bit because I immediately got people, and this is where it's my fault. Where they were like, you know, Jaffe, you gave us all video game blue balls, or Jaffe, you're just, you know, it's all clickbait and all this bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I want to be clear why this is important. Okay, because here's just some of the ones I saw, and I can't blame them. It was I take full blame because it was my fault, maybe for not painting proper context for this thing. But this is a couple things from NeoGaf. Let me pull this up here so I can stop clicking on that scene. I was on NeoGaf last night, and I just got fed up. This one guy, the Monkey Claw, says, in other news, Ted the janitor at PlayStation has also left the company after 25 years. In other words, it's like, it's no fucking big deal. This guy, I don't know what his name is, Khalid1989. Listen to this. Once again, she was with Sony my entire lifespan. He's 34 and hasn't been involved in direct production for years. Jaffe is simply overselling Booth's retirement. I know that the internet allows you to say shit you don't know about, and then you never really have to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But this guy is a fucking moron, okay? Because... And again, it's my fault because I didn't explain it. So, I don't want to be a dick to this guy. I don't know him. But here's the deal with Connie. If you go, well, what did she do? Was she a director? No, not everyone's a director. Not everyone is Neil Druckmann. Not everyone is Corey, okay? What is the thing that I say if you watch this stream, and I'm not the only one saying it, but if you've watched my streams and videos in the past, I have been consistent since Phil Spencer announced that the Xbox was coming out with no games, the Xbox Series S and X, about their terrible creative management and how Sony has spent decades mastering how to manage creative work with their executives. This is exactly the kind of person I'm talking about. I've referenced Shannon Studstill, I've referenced Scott ROHDE, I've referenced Connie Booth in that superstar group of people who are... Yeah, I mean, Connie's not sitting there going, I think, the lore of Rivet and Ratchet needs to be this. I mean, I'm sure she does contribute like that. I know she does, but that's not her job. Her job is to bring talent into the studios, to manage that talent, to work with her executive producers who are excellent, to make sure the teams have what they need. Let's put it this way. You ain't getting Redfall if Connie Booth or ROHDE's teams over in anywhere. ROHDE oversees all of it. Or back in the day, Becker was overseeing this shit, or certainly not Shannon, right? The idea would have never occurred to any of these brilliant creative executives to let a game get so far along that it was unfixable, or they would have canceled it. Okay, so this idea that... and again, it's not the average gamer's fault. It's not like, IGN does a lot of interviews with these people. They get the Neil Druckmanns and the Ken Levines, and I get it. The Jade Raymonds, I get it. Jade's team was working with Connie as well. But Connie has been that steward of great North American games from Uncharted to Ratchet and Clank. I remember SOCOM. I remember Ratchet and Clank. Was Ratchet the first one she worked on? It might have been Spyro. I don't remember. But one of the two, I remember she said to me in the hallways at Sony Foster City, it's 20 years ago, she said, I really want to keep doing this until we can make a game that feels like a Pixar movie. Right? I mean, this is how early she got on that train with those Insomniac guys and the Sly Cooper guys. And she was there for Crash Bandicoot with Naughty Dog and Universal Interactive. And all the way up until the most recent Spider-Man, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, Spider-Man 2. And so I get, and it's so, I get it, right? I get it. It's like, it's not these people's job on NeoGAF or anywhere else to understand unless they get educated about the value of people that may not be in the spotlight. But all I can tell you is if you want to crash course in it, look at Xbox, who I think is doing a lot of great stuff. And you guys know I love Game Pass and I love Phil Spencer's vision. But look at their consistent, so far, first-party titles that struggle because of poor creative management, and then look at Sony's decades of classic AAA games and ask yourself how important these kinds of people are. Okay, and so I will take the blame that I didn't maybe frame it. I just assumed people knew, but perhaps not so much. So to this collude guy or whatever his fucking name is, let's assume he's not a dick. Maybe he's fine. But I just don't like when people come at me and act like I'm just fucking lying and making shit. I mean, what are you talking about? Fuck you. I don't do that shit. Okay. And this is related, believe it or not, to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because the director of this game, and it's one of the things I'm learning after being online and doing this show and things like that for so long now. I think his name, I follow him, he follows me, is Wes Keltner. And he tweeted this the other day, and I just thought it was so interesting because when I started this show, I thought people really wanted, and I'm sure some do, people really wanted a behind-the-scenes real look at how the sausage is made. But they really don't. I mean, some people do. And maybe that's just the people I should make the show for. But a lot of people, a lot of vocal people out there say they want to know, they want to be inside. They don't. They don't. And here's the reason. Here's what he wrote. He was talking about what it takes to create. I'll show you the tweet. He was talking about what it takes to create costumes and new outfits in the game they're working on now, which is Texas Chainsaw. And he goes into it like to research fabric, 2D concept, iterate, 3D concept, iterate, he goes into the process. And then, people are like 2 months for just a skin and a bunch of recolors is crazy. And then this other guy says, maybe allocate time and resources to something more useful to maintain the game, like new maps, blah, blah, blah. And he says, he tries to explain it. He says, I have, and I am. Character and clothing artists are not the same as level artists. Also, level design is a different team. Game dev is like a symphony. People are playing different instruments at the same time. They all need to hit their marks perfectly. And then he goes on, earlier he says, it's wild that I'm transparent with the game dev process, discuss the steps it takes, and how much time is involved. And some people don't believe it. Then they jump to name calling and insults, and it makes you want to be quiet and just make things, So I do think there's a point where we have to just sort of accept that, or I have to just accept that a lot of people don't really want the skinny. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't, what do I like that I'm not involved in? I like movies. I love movies. I don't really want to get down into the nuts and bolts about how this was made or what executive was important and all that shit. I just want to watch the movies. So it may be more of a shame on me thing that I just didn't see it sooner. But I'm amazed that people, when I'm giving, or this guy Wes is giving information that's like the real skinny, and people are just like, shut up. You're overselling it. Connie's not important. She doesn't do production. It's like, what the fuck do you know? Sit the fuck down. Let me go to the chat. Let me go to the goddamn cockadoodie chat. Scott Woodford, thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 19 months. He says, Jaffe, what is my dude? What is up, my dude? I hope you're doing well. Positive vibes for everyone in Connie Booth. Thank you, sir. Look, if here's what we don't know about the Connie situation. We have no idea if this is something, I mean, I have heard she was fired, okay? But I don't have confirmation of that. I have heard her team was also let go. I have no confirmation of that. I have heard that the woman who ran Gorilla after Herman left or ascended, went clear, and then she went to this like PlayStation strategic role, and now she's coming over to do Connie's stuff. I think that's what I've heard. I have no confirmation of that either, but I've heard this from a couple of different fucking sources, right? But if, you know, and like I said in my video, if Connie was just like, yeah, I'm leaving on my own steam, I want to retire, I've done this for a long time, I've made enough money, that's great. I don't think that's what happened, but, you know, because of what I've heard and because of what I've seen happen to past superstar executives that just got treated, in my opinion, like shit and put out to pasture, like, okay, thanks for all the fish, go fuck yourself. But I don't know that, right? But the point is, if she wants back in to any industry that is where she's good at, she'll have a shit ton of offers, man. And Phil Spencer could barely do better. I can name maybe one or two names where he could do better, but that's it. Then picking up the goddamn ring-a-ding phone and calling the Connie Booth and saying, get over here, please, and help us. We are in dire need of making this brilliant vision work without the creative executives to do it. David Goodrich is in the chat. He says, Connie greenlit several of my games. I would say she was important. You goddamn right. Goodrich worked on, he worked on a bunch of stuff, but he also, with Connie, I think specifically, you guys worked, was it High Impact Games, worked on some of the PSP Ratchet games, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know if I got to Alex S. where he said, yeah, I will do a Spider-Man review probably this week if I can get it finished, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Fupy says, but we still don't know. Oh, right. No, you're right. Fupy says, but we still don't know what Connie Booth did. Maybe she made really nasty jokes about her co-workers. 100%. I mean, if you know Connie is like, and I don't say this disrespectfully, but she'll fucking cut you, right? I mean, she plays the game and plays it at probably one of the best levels. And she's good at it. Not just the creative stuff, but the political stuff. So I'm pretty sure it's not like, yeah, Connie went out with the team to, Ruth's Chris and got fucking hammered and started talking about how small Herman Holst's nuts are because she fucked him once. I'm not saying any of that's true. I don't think she ever did that with Herman Holst. I'm just saying that that's a top of the brain scenario and an over the top scenario. I'm not suggesting anything, but I'm saying, that's not Connie's way. So if she was let go, I don't know. I mean, maybe, you have to ask yourself, I mean, Jim Ryan's leaving, Herman Holst is still where he is, but maybe he's the guy they have marked to take over Jim's position. So he's kind of putting his soldiers in an area. A lot of people I saw coming at me on this news were like, well, yeah, but, Connie is almost 60 or whatever, how old she is. I mean, you can't do this forever. You're right. And there's a reason I'm not in the industry anymore. There's a couple of reasons, but the main one being is I don't think I connect with the gamers at a designer level. Some of them I do, at an indie level of players. But I couldn't do what I used to do in being plugged into the zeitgeist. But if you look at Connie's resume, I mean, again, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man. She just her last game she worked on and her team worked on sold 2.5 million copies in one day. I assure you, she's not done, or she wasn't kicked out because she wasn't relevant anymore. So but you're right, Fupy. I don't know what the cause was. And I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. People say, why don't you just call Connie? I just don't think it's appropriate. I think she knows, she follows me. She'll call me if she wants to share. She's probably NDA'd to high heaven. I don't know. And it's just, I'm not a reporter. I'm not looking to do that. I like talking about the news that's out there. It's more like a Sunday show, like a morning show. If you guys watch politics shows like not Joe Rogan, Morning Joe with Scarborough, than actually a great news program that breaks news. That's not what I want to do. Okay. Ravnos says, and I think Ravnos has worked in the game business, actually. He says, where'd it go? He says, most gamers have no idea how the sausage is made. Games are games, says Ravnos. Anyone who can do what she did can do it at Xbox or Valve or Epic or Nintendo. That's right. If she wants to continue, absolutely. Phoebe says Connie Booth intentionally told Jim Ryan to hold the PS4 controller the wrong way to make him look stupid. There you go. There you go. Tom909, thank you for that. He says the grim nitty gritty of how the sausage is made is one of the best things about this channel. Keep doing what you do. I appreciate that, buddy. Did High Impact Games? I think High Impact Games is gone now. I think they shut down. All right, let me roll through the chat. Then we'll move on to the next topic. 1 second. Master Luke, hey buddy. He says hi Jaffe for me and the kids, Jake and Elania. I don't know where I'm saying what. Help. But good to see you, buddy, as always. But I do, maybe that is evidence that Holst is ready to. He's who they've got in line. I don't know, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's still, even though it didn't affect me, it still stings the way they got rid of Alan Becker, who did so much for that company. Even if Alan Becker did not make Sony Japan what you guys or the fans wanted it to be in terms of sales. He had a couple of hits. He was the key executive at Sony for Bloodborne, or one of the keys, the head of it. But I get it, and Alan gets it. But my understanding of that is that they called him on the phone and said, your last day's Friday, pretty much get out. This is a guy who was the first fucking employee who brought all these huge franchises to Sony. So I still, and that was Jim Ryan. I know that's a fact. What I don't know for a fact is how Sean Layden got pushed out, but I believe he was politically pushed out. And yeah, it bugs me. It bugs me that, even though I know Sony's a corporation, it's political, it's cutthroat, it still bothers me. Because, these people, some of them were my friends, a lot of them were my colleagues, some of them were my mentors, and more importantly, it's just bad karma because they did so much for that corporation, and to be kind of shoved out the door with like I said, so long and thanks for all the fish. I don't vibe with that, man. I don't vibe with it, but we'll see. Jeffy, I'm not going to answer. I'll get back to that later. Jim Ryan says Jeff B. Gaming successor may be cleaning house. It's not a common practice or an uncommon. I think you mean uncommon, because I think that certainly happens. I don't think that is a rare thing when somebody comes in. I was not pushed out. I don't know why that is the narrative. Tripster says, weren't you pushed out too? No. I had my own studio. You can't push me out of my own studio. I owned it with Nick Kononellis. And we did have a game that was in production, a couple of games, and one of them was with Sony, and Sony pivoted, and I can't go into details because the executive's still there, and I promised that person I wouldn't until they leave, because I don't want to make life difficult for that person because I'm a huge fan. But that was the only way I was pushed out. But, it's my company, and I certainly wasn't pushed out of Sony to go to Eat, Sleep, Play. Are you kidding? There must have been a good reason, says a cab, also when they booted Amy Hennig out. I mean, to me, my understanding is it's a blend of reasons of apolitical and other people wanting to be in the captain's chair, as well as literally just, everybody's got their bag of hammers when it comes to the weight they bring to a team. Amy had hers. I'm sure Neil has his. I'm sure Connie had hers. But when you look at the history, at least when we're speaking of Connie, it never reared its head enough to make a difference. Maybe it changed, but okay. I don't want to talk about. I was talking to somebody recently about the channel. I'm going to bring in some consultants starting in November to work with me on the channel and help improve it and whatnot. And we were talking about what I don't like. And it's like, I really want to make it clear, if you come here looking for console war shit, you're just, you're in the wrong place. I'm not saying JG from Space is a problem like this, but it strikes me as that, like, PlayStation is doing fine. They've probably never been in a better position other than maybe the peak of the PS2 era. If you're talking about JG sales, I think you're right. But I think the chickens are coming home to roost on the Sean Layden prophecy of this stuff is not sustainable. And I think they're trying to, figure shit out. Okay. I gotta say thank you so much for the super chat. Carlos Hernandez, he says it's going to be hard to go back to Spider-Man or Miles Morales because flying makes moving around New York so much fun. Well, what do you mean it's going to be hard to go back to Spider? Oh, you mean the original games? Yeah, well, why would you go back anyway? What's the point? This is the last thing I'll say on this, then we're going to move on, talk about some fun stuff. No, I hear you, JG. When I read it, there's a valid place to talk about the businesses and how they're doing and what they're doing well, and I think you did that very well, and I just jumped the gun, and I apologize for that. But I'm on a hair trigger, as they say, because I'm just getting tired of I'm tired of it. It's just childish and stupid. Okay. Rocker Matt, thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 16 months. Cult of Calypso, thank you, buddy. Hopefully you'll be joining us today in the after party. Hello, sir. I know you briefly spoken with Dave Goodrich in your stream chat. He's here right now. I was watching him play Head On Extreme Twisted Edition. He brought up talking to you and said he'd still like to guest on your show. The next time I do a batch of interviews, I will have Goodrich on if he wants to come on. That would be great. That would be excellent. Twisted Sith, thank you for the sticker of a hot dog. You know what? And the super chat, I appreciate it, buddy. Listen to this. What did I once or twice a year, even though I'm a vegetarian, other than this, I just get a craving for a goddamn hot dog. I ordered one about a month ago, and I ate it so quick because I didn't want my mind to catch up and realize what I was eating. But my goodness gracious, it's good. It's good. Capono says, I hope he's not a Christian. Well, listen, I'll tell the story very, very briefly because I've already told it in detail. But we hired a guy. Goodrich was there at the time, I think. And he was great. Great designer. He was going to work on the Iron Man game we were doing with Insomniac or back then. And we all went to the Santa Monica Mall for lunch. Me and Mike Guillaume and Steve Sergioli, who worked on Twisted Metal, worked with Goodrich on Small Brawl, and this designer. And he was like, we were listening to Howard Stern on the way. And when he got back to the office, he says, I can't take this job. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're awesome. We love you. This has been in the works for 2 months. What do you mean? He says, yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm a Jewish Christian. I don't know if it was Christ for Jews or whatever that's called, Jews for Jesus. And he says, it was offensive to me that you guys were listening to Howard Stern. So that was it. And he took off and flew away. I haven't talked to him since. I wasn't mad. I was just like, what are you talking about? Anyway. All right. Okay. Let me just make sure I got these chats and we are going to move on. I understand some of you guys like console warring. I think there's more interesting stuff to talk about. That's all I'll say. Would you guys watch a battle between Jaffe and Skill Up and one other about controversial gaming topics? There'd be topics for them to discuss, things they disagree on. Example, Crunch. I'd watch that. Okay, here we go. Let's move on. The last stream we did last week, I showed you guys this. I just want to pay this off because the internet shut down and I didn't get a chance to answer it. I showed this to you guys and I says, well, hey, check this thing out. This is a piece of sheet music if you are not looking at your screen. And I don't read music anymore. I barely ever did. So I don't know if we're looking at like a G to an E note, but it's above the top line, bar, whatever. And it's a quick pluck of a note. And then it goes higher to a sustained note, right? And so I was basically wondering if anybody knew what this was. This is one of the most valuable sounds in video games. It has been trademarked by Nintendo. This is the sound of the Mario coin pickup. And yes, in 2016, Nintendo actually went and got themselves a patent or a trademark or whatever you call it for this actual sound. And then, picking up the coin. So the ding, that thing, which I'm sure a lot of you, including me, heard this weekend playing Super Mario Wonder, which we will talk about in just a moment. But it did get me thinking. Not that. Where's not what I'm looking for. It did get me thinking about other sounds that have been trademarked, and I wondered about that. Like, are there other video game sounds? I couldn't find any video game sounds that have been trademarked, but I did find. Let me see if I can. I may not be able to find them now, so I may be shit out of luck. But yeah, I mean, it was stuff like the Mockingjay whistle has been trademarked. The kind of thing that they whistle when they're in the woods to let people know that, dude, I don't know how to do it. That's trademark sound. Darth Vader breathing is a trademark sound. There's like 14 that you're like, holy shit, man. I get why they would trademark that. The Metal Gear exclamation solid should be trademarked. I agree, Aaron, but I don't know. I didn't see that on a list. You would have thought there would be a video by now up that says, these are the video game sounds. There's a lot of videos that are like, here are the most iconic sounds, but there's not one that says these are the trademark sounds. The only one I could find was from the Mario coin. The Pac-Man, I wouldn't. Yeah, Scott Free says they should have trademarked the Pac-Man sound from Atari 2600. I don't agree. The actual arcade machine, sure, but that fucking Atari 2600 Pac-Man, the way it looks, the way it sounded, it causes severe post-traumatic stress for Gen X kids, and I think you should just shut the fuck up. Because, boy, forget that one. What about the goddamn Donkey Kong on the 2600 from ColecoVision that they made? The goddamn sound of him, like, running up the rafters and the fucking construction, whatever those fucking things are called, man. Shit. Bloodborne parry backstab. Yeah, that's a pretty good sound too. Sweet Tooth's laugh. I don't believe it was trademarked real life. No. Didn't Tommy Tallarico trademark a sound? I think he did. I think he trademarked that oof sound, and that was used in Roblox a lot. And then he ended up suing them, and I don't remember what he won, but I don't remember what the payment was or what have you. Jaffe, what was Microsoft and PlayStation big spheres about? Did you see them? Well, I mean, they were in Vegas, right? The giant sphere in Vegas. So a couple days ago, it was just the overall Xbox advertisement for the holidays, and then the day right after was Spider-Man 2. Which went up there. The ones that I'm more impressed by, I mean, I get it. I get that the sphere is awesome. Those 3D billboards, though, where the things are like on the corners, and they did one with Spider-Man 2, where Spidey and Miles swing up and they kind of look out, and then I think maybe Venom comes out and looks at the audience or looks down. I think that shit, man, is awesome. And it may just be because I haven't seen one. The closest one I know is I know there's one in downtown LA, and I just haven't had a chance to see it. Maybe if you see it live, it's not that impressive. But when I see them on video from all over the world on YouTube, those fucking things they still blow my mind that it can look 3D without any fucking glasses or anything like that. It's fucking wild. But yeah, that's what the sphere stuff was about. And I know you can do 3D billboards for about $5,000 to $15,000 to rent it. You still have to create the content. I have no idea the cost of getting on the sphere. Somebody, if you have time, look it up. let me know. My guess would be right now, 30 seconds on the Sphere for a night will probably cost you $40K. That would be a guess. I don't know if that's true. Okay. Mr. K says the Sphere is next level. Dana White went to see U2 at the Sphere the other day and said it was the greatest venue in the world. I'm talking about the outside of it, though. The inside of the Sphere is weird to me. Okay, it's $450K for one day. Okay. I was wrong. Well, no, I said for 30 seconds, so maybe the math works out. I don't know. But what I will say about the inside of the Sphere, if you guys have seen those videos, is I'm impressed by it. I think it's really fucking cool. And if I saw it in person, I would probably become a believer. Because everybody I've talked to who's seen it says it's amazing. But when you watch the videos, it's weird because you're inside and the band is like this tall or this big and you're surrounded by this massive dome of video, right? So it's it's not like they always project the band on the dome. They do sometimes, but not always, right? And so it's just like, well, this is cool if I'm here to watch a giant IMAX movie and get stoned and watch like, a laser light show or something. But if I come to see U2 and they're so fucking far away and they're dwarfed by this amazing video screen, I almost kind of wonder what's the point. But again, this is me on the outside pressing my nose up against the glass. I haven't seen it. Here's what I have seen, though, fellas. How's that for a transition? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Boom, Spider-Man 2. First, let's get to the big news, at least for the Sony folks and the Insomniac folks. Spider-Man 2 sold 2.5 million copies. Hello, Lutron. 2.5 million copies. And I don't know yet if this is digital and physical, or the sale number includes pre-orders and copies sold in the bundle. It's the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game in history. Knocking out Ragnarok was previously the fastest selling studio, selling 5 million in a week. Well, that's kind of weird because they're giving us Spider-Man in a day. And then they're giving us God of War in a week, and they're giving us Last of Us in 3 days. So I don't fucking know. Insomniac's original Spidey sold 3.3 million in 3 days. So they're, 24-hour sales. It's kind of batshit crazy. So congratulations to them all. I know some of them watch the show, and I appreciate that. But more importantly, what a success. And I think, it's interesting. When I had a conversation with Pactor on this channel, I was asking him, I'm like, what do you think the biggest game of the year is going to be? And I posited Spider-Man. And he says, yeah, the problem with Spider-Man, though, is that it's exclusive to not only one console, but the most expensive console out there. So the chances of it actually being the best seller may not sit well. Mario Wonder could sell more, or certainly the new Call of Duty probably sell more. But that said, though, for a one console title, this is fucking bizarre. Now, Jizzaloop, we'll talk about that in a second. He says, respect the formula. No. And yes, because I am happy to say I misjudged Insomniac as it relates to how they are using that formula. And I want to talk about that in a second. And I'll go deeper into it on my I'll probably do a Spider-Man review live after I finish playing it versus just a video, but we'll see. So we can all talk about it. And I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys if you haven't played it. But I do want to talk a little bit about why I got it so wrong and why I think that Insomniac Spider-Man 2 really is a hell of a great roadmap, assuming you can continue to afford, a basically a PG-13 loved character. Spider-Man is kind of checks all the boxes. So part of it is that, but it's also a brilliant fucking game. We'll talk about it in a second. But I do want to say that the two things that did stand out is just like, but this is part of their formula too. And their formula is, from what I understand, we have so much time. we're going to crunch a little, but we're not going to crunch like crazy. And we're going to build on what came before heavily. And then the team's going to have freedom within the time limit and the template to be creative where they can. Okay? And so what that means sometimes is you got to stick and move. It's like, look, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because you've got this, the faces are weird in this game and they're very inconsistent, right? You know, this doesn't look terrible here, but in action, this is Norman Osborn. It's right at the beginning of the game, literally the first scene. I'm not spoiling anything. But it looks unrealistic and strange, right? Harry's face looks pretty good. Peter's face looks pretty good. And I'm not talking about aesthetically. I'm talking about the actual, like the texture on his face is just strange. But maybe they just were kind of like, fuck it, that's the time, we're moving on. And that's what lets them get this shit done so fast. I mean, what is it, a fourth PS5 running game? I mean, if you include the updated Spider-Man, that shit's crazy. I'll tell you something. No, he doesn't look like a 50-year-old guy. He is a 50-year-old guy. Norman Osborn, Jeff B. Gaiman. This is not what he looks like in the game. I mean, it is, but this is just a screen grab. But if you play it, it almost looks like this weird leather skin or something. It's very strange. It's very strange. Mary Jane got a lot of people talking, and I gotta agree. I don't care. I love the game, and I'll talk about it in a second. But what I will say about this game, that I absolutely love. There's a lot of things, but I do love that it is diverse as fuck, and you can love it or you can hate it. You can call it woke. You can, whatever you want to call it. You can call it propaganda. I don't know. I don't care. But I love that. I love that in this world where we're asked to believe that Spider-Man can be Spider-Man and swing around the city, blah, blah, blah. That you're, you know, I mean, it's seriously the racial diversity, the sexual attraction diversity. It is just marbled in throughout the whole game. And I that's one of the reasons I love it. Okay. So I'm a fan of what they're doing. Okay. But I will say what's weird about the Mary Jane thing though, is that Harry Osborn and Peter Parker, who are the same age, they're good. They're dudes that you would be like, if they were living and they got put into a CW teen show, you'd go, yeah, they're good looking dudes. Marbled in, not marveled in RPG. Mary Jane though, and Mary Jane, I like her character in this game. I like her missions in this fucking game, believe it or not, because they gave her a taser and it's a lot more fun. And she's not a bad looking character. It's not like the character that they showed from Fable. But it is really weird, and you're wrong. Jizzaloop says there's no single good-looking woman in the game. There is. Black Cat looks stunning. Stunning. She's fucking hot. But Mary Jane just kind of looks fine, which is, nothing's wrong with that. But it's kind of like, you know, if you were going to put an average person in Riverdale, an average-looking person, it would be like Mary Jane being in Spider-Man 2. You're like, okay, they have this system, or they have this aesthetic going for the way a lot of the main characters look. They're young and they're sexy and they're CW'd and all that shit. And then here comes the main female protagonist and she just kind of looks uneventful. And I don't think she looks ugly. You know, I think she's a great character. The performance is great. She's cute and all that shit, but it's weird that they would do it to her, but not the other characters is all I would say. But no, she plays great in the game, and she comes across great. I didn't like playing her in the first game either. Colin Prime says, I haven't played it yet, but I didn't like playing her in the first game. And this is what we'll get to when it comes to the formula. Okay, let's talk about Spider-Man 2 without spoiling it and without getting into too much detail, because I'll save that for the review. So what I think I got wrong about the formula Mary Jane is never hot, Mr. K. Are you out of your fucking mind? I've been reading Spider-Man since the fucking 70s. Mary Jane is literally a supermodel in the comics. She is staggeringly hot in the comics. That's part of her job, in fact. So no, everything you just said is wrong. In fact, just so I, you ever see J. Scott Campbell draw Mary Jane and Peter? Look at this fucking thing. He did the statue where they're like doing the laundry and shit. I mean, come on, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you telling me? Go fuck off. Go fuck off. Anyway, point is she's gorgeous. She's fucking gorgeous. It's not the point though. The point is that this is what I got wrong about there. Oh, you can't even see it. I'm sorry. This is what I got wrong about the formula. So, and again, is it my fault? Sure, I fucked it up. But truth be told, when they showed the game, everything they showed was kind of like, been there, done that. It felt to me like what God of War Ragnarok to me ended up feeling like, which was a beautifully made game, but it kind of just felt like more of the same. Been there, done that. And that's what I thought we were getting with Spider-Man 2. And I was like, that's fine. It's probably a smart business decision. They don't want to kill the team and blah, blah, blah. But that's not what it is, though. What it is really kind of neat. At least this is how I see it. I don't know if this is how Insomniac saw it. But what they've been able to do now with Spider-Man 2 is they already had this great foundation. So now in the places where they have gotten to play, because a lot of the foundation has been laid, they have done, such a wonderful job on a lot of these things that just you wouldn't think about. And I'll give you a great example. This is the opening of Spider-Man. The very opening, and you've seen this all over it. It's in the first 8 minutes where you're fighting Sandman, you and Miles, blah, blah, blah. It is so well paced. And I don't just mean in terms of, it doesn't get boring. I mean from cutscene to action to Spidey to Miles to the way the camera shows you something and it's like reveals something cool, and then you get control back of Spider-Man and you're like, oh shit, I want to do that thing, And from beginning to end, it's the best opening of a video game I've ever played, and it feels like the opening of a James Bond movie, right? We tried to do that with the first God of War. I thought for the time we came close. These guys shit all over that. And this is where it matters, right? Because they had the time now. It wasn't just about putting all the stuff in there and going, well, it's in, we're good. They knew how to put all the stuff in there. They knew how to have the camera cut beautifully, seamlessly, because Ratchet did it better than any other game I'd seen until Spider-Man, between gameplay and camera cuts. There was always that weird thing where you could kind of tell. Couldn't tell in Ratchet. You can't tell at all in Spider-Man 2 when the gameplay's about to cut, except when it goes behind the character and you have to wait for a second. That's annoying, but whatever. Little things like that, right? I was playing Mario Wonder, which we'll talk about this weekend, and it had a great little intro as well. And then it all builds to them zooming in, irising in on Mario in the bottom right. But the iris misses Mario a little bit, like he's a little off center. And then it holds too long, like you can tell the switch is kind of loading or something. And then it goes to the next scene where in a movie or in Spider-Man 2, it would have just flowed seamlessly and just been this great shot of adrenaline. Boom, 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 boom. And they do that kind of thing everywhere. Right? They do it with the mission designs so far are varied. The enemy designs visually are not that interesting, but they're right on target with introducing new enemy types to keep you engaged. The fighting still gets kind of boring at times, but they're always putting something else in. A shield guy, a fucking automatic robot dog, flying robot, fucking, I don't know what the fuck they are, hawks or something. It just keeps going. And what they're asking you to do, there was one sequence where, I'm not going to go into details, but when you are chasing a character And this character has a relic from the Marvel Universe that allows this character to sort of Ratchet and Clank rift apart, in essence. And that sequence is crazy. The stuff that they throw at you in that sequence is like, what the fuck? It is as good, if not better, than some of the best Marvel movies. It's really fucking good. And then I have seen some people say that, oh, well, somebody earlier in the chat said, but I've seen it online too. It's like, oh, it's a walking sim now. It's like Life is Strange meets Spider-Man. Who the fuck wants that? I want that. I want that. Because that's what Marvel Comics is. That's what Stan Lee brought to Marvel Comics from Fantastic Four #1 in '63 or whenever it was, that was different than DC, that was different than the competition. It was, we're going to go into the personal lives of these characters. And that's what the movies do well. PM45 says, I don't want that. Great. It's not for you. Don't play it. But the actual, regarding Last Stand Media, Easy Allies, ask me later. I'll get back to that. But the actual scenarios where you're just living life as Peter or Harry or Mary Jane or Miles, which I thought they did brilliantly in Miles when you're walking around his house and his mom's cooking and all that. It really does ground you in the world, and it makes you care about the characters because it's interactive. Somebody, Brett Moore's talking about Coney Island when they all meet up at Coney Island. Yeah, I thought that was awesome, that you could go to Coney Island and ride the rides and play the games. It was excellent. It was excellent. Mr. FU says, be real. Stan Lee would be rolling over in his grave, the woke bullshit that's been injected into Marvel. You really don't want to have that conversation with me. Because you're simply wrong. First off, it would be Jack Kirby rolling over in his grave, because who knows what Stan Lee really did. Jack Kirby's the guy that literally, when Nazis showed up to the Marvel offices, left his desk and went downstairs in the lobby to beat the shit out of them. Okay, but Stan Lee's the guy who created the Black Panther. Stan Lee's the guy that, if you read Stan's soapboxes back in the '70s, all he talked about was woke shit. And all he talked about was progressive and women's lib and racial equality. So you're just simply wrong. That's all I got to say about that. But it's great. And again, I'll go into more detail later, but on the actual video review. But there's just so much about this thing that I love, and even I still think they fall down a little bit in this game when it comes to the too many quests that can distract you. I've gotten good because I've learned, because I fuck it up in not going for the next right thing because it slows my momentum down. And I'll go back and do it later if I want to, but I never played games like that because I always felt like I needed to complete all the Prowler missions. I need to complete all the backpack missions. And this game, I don't know if they just have less of them, but it doesn't feel as overwhelming. The gadgets are cool. I'll tell you one more thing real quick. That I love about this. And one of the things I think that's the secret sauce is I think it is structured. Like when I was doing games, and most people who make video games have used the 3-act structure from film forever, right? It's like the first act, there's a plot twist, second act, middle of the thing, character gets what he wants, but he doesn't really want it, or something changes. You have the third, spins into the third act at the second plot point, Dark Night of the Soul, blah, blah, blah. This game seems like it's structured like an 8 to 10 episode Netflix series. And I think that is the shit. I love it because I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's kind of like when you used to go to a movie and you wouldn't see the bad guy, or they'd hold off on something until way late into the story. When a big pivotal moment occurs, it's deep into the game. And so they've given these characters enough time as their base for you to experience that when something shifts, it's a more meaningful shift. and you're like, oh, okay, that's fucking cool. So it's good stuff. It's great stuff. I love it. Highly recommend it. The thumbnail says this is game of the year. It's interesting. It's interesting. Eric Lennon, I just don't agree with you. There's no right or wrong. It's subjective. He says God of War does all this as well, and you hated on it. I didn't hate on it. I thought it was poorly paced. So far, nothing in Spider-Man has rubbed me that way. Yeah. I can't help but be racist. It's true. You know, there were things in God of War, Ragnarok, love the first one, 2018's, that just felt slow, like busy work, lumbering. The pacing was off in that game. And for a guy with ADD, that's, you know, cardinal sin. For me, I get you loved it. That's great. There is no right answer. But for me, yeah, I felt it was slow. This moves, man. This is, I don't know how far, I'm in, I think there's 32 missions or something, and I'm done with over half of them, and it moves really, really fucking fast, and it's good. So I'm quite happy. But will it win Game of the Year? It's a stupid award to begin with, but because it doesn't mean anything. But is it worthy of being in the top 5 games of the year? Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Is it the point of, is it going to win Game of the Year? Let's just drill it down, because I know this is mostly what people mean. We're not talking about DICE. We're not talking about GDC. We're not talking design awards. We're talking Jeff Keighley standing there at the end of the show in December, early December, and saying the Game of the Year goes to. If we're honing in on that definition of Game of the Year, I mean, that's... And if Jeff wakes up this year and creates a design category and a direction category and separates them, because the minute you put a design category, that's the real fight between Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think Tears of the Kingdom would get a directing nomination, right? So, I would say Baldur's will probably win because it has the momentum, and what you're going to see is a lot of people voting for it who've never even fucking played it. But that's how it is. You don't have to prove you played it. You have to prove you played it to nominate it. It's all these things are stupid. But I think, honestly, Spider-Man absolutely is one of the top 4 games of the year. Like and it's valid. It's not like, you know, when you've got the Oscars and it's like, okay, it's Goodfellas versus Jaws. I know. Goodfellas versus Jaws. And then there's this like minor hit that was like, oh, and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. No one, that's never going to win. That's not this. This, depending on what you value, stands with those other games. Because this takes that formula and shows what you can do with it when you've laid your foundation and you're no longer spending most of your time just trying to wow everybody with technology, and you're able to, you know, use that technology at a higher degree for an artistic intent or a storytelling intent or an experience intent. And that's pretty fucking special. That's pretty fucking special. All right, let me go to the chat, see what you guys think, and then we will move on from talking about Spider-Man. I do want to talk a little bit about Mario Wonder in just a second. Capono says, does the combat feel the same? It feels very similar, but here's what I'll tell you. One of the things that people were saying, and I was like, really? You're excited that you think a parry is going to matter? Is that Spider-Man has a parry? The parry is a must. It's not like in some games where it's like you can parry if you want. It's like there are certain enemies that require that, or there are certain enemies that mostly require other abilities. And I think the combat feels a little different in that the enemy design is more varied. The only disappointing thing when it comes to that is like they still have those card chases, which are deliciously dramatic. But after you've seen one, you've seen them all, and they have reduced it, so it's only one button press. But at this point, and maybe it was on the table and they'll get to it in the next game. But I would have liked, let me fucking fight on the car. Let me actually have a battle on the fucking car. But no, I think it's fun. I think it's fucking fun. The gameplay doesn't do anything revolutionary. The game, Dale says, you're not wrong about that, but it's a meta revolution. I know it sounds dumb. I'm sorry. It's like I said, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But it's a revolution in the sense that the best way I can describe it is, to me, it feels like what happens. Let's take movies, making movies. What happens if for the first time you can step onto the set of the movie and you're not worrying near as much. I'm not saying they didn't, but it feels this way. You're not worrying near as much about all the technical shit, right? You're just able to tell your story. And decisions come out of the desire to tell a good, I mean, when I say story, I mean gameplay as well. The decisions come out of that more often. It feels very much like I said, that formula, when you lay all your foundation and you can just focus on the experience and all the other stuff's already been laid down, that's impressive. That's special. But I will agree with you, Dale. There's nothing moment to moment I've experienced where I've been like, holy shit, I've never played anything like this. No, 100%. Somebody telling me to play Liza P. I played Liza P. I played the demo. I loved it. I finished it. I'm just not in the headspace for a really hard game right now. And I've seen too many people complaining about how hard it can get. And I have no interest in that right now. Okay, so I also played, obviously, I could not because I was excited. Mario Wonder. This is an interesting game. I don't think so far I'm maybe 30% through it. So, take this. Maybe it gets astounding. I would say 70% of the game is just a very great, super solid, super engaging 2D Mario game. 30% is just joy. You're smiling, you're laughing, it's surprising. It's the classic Nintendo magic in 2023 that you felt, I felt in 1985 when I was playing the NES and I, in the first level, the second level, jumped up and realized I could run along the top all the way to the fucking boss. It's just like, oh my God, they did that. Oh my God, that's so clever. Oh my God, that's so charming. There's a sequence in this game towards the beginning where like the piranha plants all kind of reminds me of the Uptown Funk sequence in what's it called Little Big Planet Adventure or whatever, Sackboy Adventure. They all start singing and you're running on the keyboard, so you're running adds to the music, and I mean it is delightfully, deliciously designed to bring a smile to your face, and I think it does that brilliantly 30%, 40% of the time. The other part, you're just like, okay, it's fun, it's really good, but I don't think it does that delight, smile to your face enough to suggest it's just people are losing their shit over it. But it's good. It's really good. No matter how good your game is this year, Zelda's going to win because of how biased people are, says Shadow Wolf. I don't think this will get a Game of the Year win. At least maybe it'll be like Nintendo. I don't even think it'll get Nintendo's Game of the Year because that clearly will and should go to Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, Nintendo's had an astounding year this year. But JG says, Wonder is the best 2D Mario since Mario World. It's historically significant just for that. I mean, yeah, but how do you quantify that? It's really good. It's really, really good. But I think for me, because the highs are so fucking high and they're so charming and just magical, that when you aren't experiencing that, it feels, rolling back down into that valley. It's a great valley, but it feels pretty much like what you've already, it's like it pales in comparison to what happened in the last level. And that's not, that's a nice problem to have. David Del Rio says, did you like it better than Starfield? If you mean Mario, no. If you mean Spider-Man, I like the story experience in Starfield better than any game I've ever played. I like the gameplay, which includes the story, but as a cohesion piece, better than Starfield for sure. But I'm playing a single player story, going on an adventure, I still think Starfield best of the year in that category easily. One Panda King, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, "What's poppin', Jaffe? It's nice having another show. I didn't get my Jaffe fix this week, and I usually listen to you at work, so the night goes quick." Oh, I appreciate that. I love hearing that. How do you... I just got a text from Shannon Studd still. I'm not going to tell you what it says, though, but I'm going to text her right when the show's over. What's Tory Holistics? But Panda King, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I love hearing... somebody did a comment on the show and said, "Oh, Jaffe, this is one of my comfort listens," and I love that. I love knowing that this show for some people is something they put on to pass the time, and we get to keep each other company. So thank you for that super chat, and thank you for that nice comment. I appreciate it. I don't really care, Jaffe. A lot of people would say the opposite. I think you're talking about Spider-Man. I don't care. I don't care. Just love that you know someone that unabashedly loves what they love. There is no right answer. Mr. K says, "What's Tory Holistics? They make the poppets you sniff to dilate your butthole before your boyfriend comes over." First off, listen, it's 2023. So can we agree to stop acting as if somebody being gay is a negative thing? I know you're just kidding. But it just seems so disrespectful. The other stuff is funny. But, you know. It just seems like, what are you, living in the 80s? Listen to me, though. Speaking of drugs, Tory Holistics is the place where I buy my marijuana. And the other day, they dropped this in the bag as a little freebie. And you goddamn right, I'm going to try it. Look at this shit. It's not officially Call of Duty. It's called Call of Focus. And you're supposed to, I don't know what it is. It feels, I think it's powder. It says live rosin. Do you roll that? I don't know what that is. But it's supposed to help you play Call of Duty better. So, you know, I'll be trying that on a stream pretty soon. Mr. K says, "No, being gay is not a negative, but being called gay when you're not is funny. Just like calling a gay dude straight." Is it? Can I tell you something really quick? I was not. I'm going to get back to games. I promise. In fact, I'll tell you what's coming up next. Just so you. Oh, I'm going to tell you what we're doing for members, and it's horror game related. It's pretty cool. But I got to tell you something real quick. So I never had any interest in the TV show Community. The only reason I'm thinking of Community now is that GIF with the Chang where he says gay. And my kid, he's just like, dude, everybody says it's hilarious. One of his best friends is like, it's so fucking funny. So we stuck with it. We watched one episode. I was like, and watched the second episode. Oh my God, that's probably behind MASH, one of the funniest fucking TV show I've ever fucking seen in my fucking life. That show is just consistently hilarious. So if you've been thinking about it, because it sounds like dreadfully boring, a show about people at community college, what the fuck do I want to watch that? Oh my God, it's funny. All right, let's move on. I just want to tell you what's coming up. This happened a couple of days ago, but I wasn't able to stream it. So I haven't watched it. But I will be doing sometime this week, members only chat. We will be watching the Indie Horror Showcase. We might tie it to the Microsoft Showcase that's coming up that was just announced for Wednesday. It's not first party for the most part. It's like second or really third party stuff. And I'm assuming a lot of that is going to be in Game Pass. So that is going to be coming up really, really soon. So we might put these together, but this is the Indie Horror Showcase, right? So if you are into the tip of the spear when it comes to unique, interesting, pushing the boundaries horror, this is where you're going to get it. I love Resident Evil, but you ain't going to get it in Resident Evil, right? That's the mainstream gen pop horror. The real fucking weird horror is happening here. And this is an hour and 20-minute showcase. Some of these have demos already on Steam right now. This will be a members-only chat. I might even just do it members-only in the Discord. I don't know yet, but that's coming up. The Xbox show is coming up, so I just want to let you know about that. That will be happening someday this week. But I'm not sure exactly when yet. Alex says, Jaffe, did you see the new Modern Warfare 2 Ash of the Evil Dead pack? I have not. Okay. Resident Evil did not invent horror, actually. And Resident Evil is not really horror. Resident Evil, as I've said before, has the candy wrapper of horror. But it's an action game with a horror wrapper, and I love it. I fucking love it. Alan Wake. Let's talk about Alan Wake real quick, too, because that's coming out this week, and you goddamn right, I will be picking that up. By the way, yes, the Xbox third-party showcase, you will see info on Alan Wake, Ark Survival Ascended. Is it called Ark Survival Ascended? I don't know. But this will be coming out at 1 o'clock, so 11 o'clock California time on Wednesday. So I'll be streaming that in some form or fashion as well. So I'm excited about that. I want to talk to you. Well, let's jump to Alan Wake first. Alan Wake reviews they've announced coming out October 26th, this Thursday. And then the sequel launches hours later, October 27th, according to GameSpot. A number of people were like, is this thing going to flop? There haven't been the reviews and this and that and the other. I hear everybody who's played it. It's fucking great. 6 a.m. California time is on this Thursday is when we'll have the reviews, which I think are going to be crackerjacking off the charts. I don't know the launch time yet for the game. Hopefully it'll be 9 o'clock that night. But yes, I will be playing it. I am very excited for it. What's really interesting to me is there was a thread on NeoGAF about, is this game going to be a sales flop? And I've always thought if any game this season has a risk of being a failure, not as a game, but as a sales product, it's this one. Now, I was stunned to learn that Assassin's Creed Mirage did pretty well in its opening week. My guess is, I haven't checked the charts, that thing has fallen dramatically from its position last week, at least if you look at like UK box products. But maybe not. I mean, maybe people just love that fucking series so fucking much that it can do no wrong. But I assume that and Alan Wake are going to be the two big flops of the week or of the season. Briz says, are you playing Alan Wake 2 on Xbox or PS? I play everything on PlayStation because the controller is better unless I can't get it on PlayStation or if it's on Game Pass. But what was interesting about this, though, is, you know, this is a game that's designed, developed, and published by Remedy. And so I believe it's self-funded. I believe I don't know if Control was published by Remedy, but I believe this is their intellectual property. And, you know, they certainly have, this person, Blackstride, writes, Remedy were over the moon when Control did $2 million in 12 months. For Square Enix, that was a massive flop. For them, it's a success, right? So I think for Remedy, it's going to do really, really well. But I don't think it's probably going to end up being, you know, the knees bees. It's not gonna end up being like 20 million copies or something. But I think it's gonna do great as a game, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Listen to this, you guys. Holy cow! Hang on a second. Mr. K says, I'm not playing Spider-Man 2 because the Black Lives Matter mural is gone. Listen, the bee's knees, the knees bees, whatever. Okay, Control was published by 505. Did they fund it, Tom, or did they just publish it? But it was still an IP owned and funded by Remedy. The Gina? I don't know. I'm buying Alan Wake day one, as it's not on Game Pass. Played everything else I want on there. Game Pass has made me resentful to pay $70 for day one games. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's meant to do in a lot of ways. It's just like the movies now. It's got to be worth getting, spending that money because you have a great alternative. Listen to this. I don't know what my kid is doing. Listen to this. The other day, come on now. The other day, Bobby Kotick gave an interview when the Activision deal closed. And it was interesting, he talked about what it means for Activision's intellectual property. And he brought up several times Guitar Hero. And he brings it up a couple of times, and one of them he talks about how exciting the future is because, like, with what Elon Musk is working on with Neuralink, will allow you eventually to plug Guitar Hero directly into your fucking brain. This is Bobby Kotick. I mean, he's not saying this is coming out next week, but this is like he's just, shooting the shit, speculating, blah, blah, blah. Hang on a second. I'm going to answer this call live. Hello? Hey, it's going good. I'm actually doing a live stream right now. Can I call you right when I get off?
Sure, no problem.
All right. Call you. No, that's not. I'll call you right back. Thanks, man. That is the guy I'm working with, his company, to come on and help improve the stream. So I didn't want him to think I was ignoring him. But listen. So he's shooting the shit, speculative stuff, and he says you could hook Guitar Hero up to your brain. Okay. But then, and I know, it's just Bobby Kotick. He's just talking. And I'm sure that's coming. But did you hear, though, all the lies that Neuralink from Musk has done? They've hidden the photos of these fucking monkeys that have been their first line of defense. They had these monkeys for a year. And a bunch of them died horribly. Brain bleeds and brain swelling, and they were shitting all kinds of weird bloody fluid, and they had no idea what was going on. Some of the monkeys were able to literally pull the fucking link out of their goddamn brains, and it left parts in their fucking brains. The photos themselves have not leaked yet. But think about this. I mean, literally, all this has happened, and they're being sued or investigated by the Federal Trade Commission, because they're kind of like, hey, we're investing in your company, and you said things were on the up and up, and now these monkeys did not die of old age. They died because you fucking put implants in their fucking heads. Well, listen to this. So they've just cleared the ability to do this fucking shit on humans. Can you believe? Who's going to agree to that shit? Who's going to agree to that shit after you see what happened with these goddamn cockadoodie monkeys? That's all I'm fucking saying. So I will tell you that if Bobby Kotick comes a courting and says, hey, let's play some Guitar Hero with Elon Musk's Neuralink, be careful. Water Princess says half of the chat would agree. I think it's very cool. And I would agree if once there's some science behind it, and there's some, and there is science behind Neuralink, but I would agree if this had been successful for a couple of years, then yeah, give it a shot. But they can't even keep the goddamn monkeys alive. This sounds like an incomplete story. What's incomplete about it? Autopsy found that Neuralink implant ruptured monkey's brain. And there's like 8 of them, and they go into details on Wired about what happened to each of the fucking monkeys. They give you the name of the monkey, or the code name. Like, this is Monkey 20 happened. Monkey 20 ended up, shitting out this viscous, bloody, object. And then it laid down in front of its cage and held its partner's hand, and then it just fucking died. The other ones they had to euthanize. And then they talk about the lawsuits, or they talk about where, the government is like, hey, wait a minute. You might be in trouble here because you're asking people for their money for something that clearly don't work yet. Elon Musk is a dangerous motherfucker, is what I'll fucking say. But certainly if Kodak comes courting, says, here's Guitar Hero for your brain, this is a warning. This is a, look, man, this is a good service I provide. I don't have to share this with you, but I'm letting you know because I care about you. That, be wary of this right now, okay? Typical Jaffe, says Mr. K. No regard for consequences. Jaffe will be the only person cheering on a Skynet as it kills us. And then he'll finally have revenge on Sony in the game. What are you talking about? I'm saying as much as I love what this technology is eventually going to do, it's not ready to be tested on anyone, let alone humans right now. They should use stray dogs, says Fupy, not expensive monkeys. What a waste of monkey. Yeah. Fuck you. The real story is that they became super intelligent and organized the monkey rebellion. Hey, that'd be cool too. I want a self-exploding car, says Eddie T, to go along with my self-exploding skull. Yeah. If you agreed to do this, it'll give you what's the goddamn thing called? One of those Tesla trucks. Okay, let's move on though, shall we? I think we've spent enough time with monkey business.
Everybody hates you, and I'm glad your husband died.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
All right, let's move on, shall we? Come on, enough. You know what Blizzard is doing? This is very Halloweeny, my friends. Blizzard is giving away. If you go down to one of these sanctioned blood banks and give blood, which is a wonderful cause, you should do it. It's crazy that we can give blood and save lives. It sounds like a horror movie, but it's true. It's wonderful. But go give some blood. And here's what you could win. Blizzard has taken a title quite literally, Season of Blood, as it's offering up a whole entire custom liquid-cooled PC as a giveaway that will have real human blood in it. This is reporting from VG 24/7. Whose human blood, I hear you asking? No idea. Someone's. But the blog post announcing the giveaway didn't go into that much detail. So, I wonder if they were to say, like, look, I mean, seriously, if they said, look, Taylor Swift's blood is in the PC. You don't believe me? Here's the story. If they said Taylor Swift's blood is in the PC, then you would have her DNA, and then you could like make your own little band of pop stars and retire once she's old enough to start making money. I think it's important to know whose blood. Seriously, maybe it's like a dog's blood. You don't know. I'm sure maybe legally they have to explain to you whose blood is in there. Maybe. Yeah, it gives you 50 frames. It can't run Crysis, though, in Silico. That's the only problem with it. Jaffe, they can't put real blood in the PC. Yes, they can. They didn't say, I don't think they said it's going to be cooled with blood. It will have real human blood in it. I'm looking at my PC right now. It has a translucent wall, so I can see inside. There's plenty of room if I wanted to put a little blood bag in there. What are you talking about? Don't tell me where I can put my fucking blood. But do you know what? I knew a woman once in college, and she had sex so much with this guy. She met this guy. They went back to her apartment. All weekend they had the sexy time. And she called me. She says, dude, his dick is bleeding. I'm like, what do you mean? Did he cut it? She says, no. Like out of the hole, out of the pee-pee hole, out of the cum-cum hole. He's shooting blood now. I'm like, you should probably go to the goddamn hospital. And so they went to the hospital and he's fine. You know what he does now for a living? He this is amazing, this guy. When he was in college to make extra money and because he wanted to be a doctor, which I don't know if he became one, I think he did. He would just have to leave class whenever, this is the 90s, fuck you, his beeper went off. And it was because he was getting a call that somebody had died, and his job was to go to the corpses that had signed a release and collect the eyeballs of the corpse and then package them up so they stay cool and functional. And I guess, I think it was both for study and also for transplants. I didn't know you could do an eye transplant, but there you go. There you go. These are my USC stories, kids. That's how it all worked out. Okay, Jaffe, what have you planned for this upcoming stream? Is it a good time to grab a membership? Here's what we're doing for Halloween. There will be a Halloween special this week. Here's how we're going to do it this week, though. It is going to be, I have just been scouring the internet. It's basically going to be, I'm going to be high. Hopefully you'll be high too if you're into such shenanigans. Brett Moore says his career, the eye guy, was a bit short-sighted. Fuck you, that's good. I have been scouring the internet for just really fucking weird, disturbing shorts, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, whatever. And there are some doozies out there. So I will be taking suggestions and I will be showing you my stuff as well. And I will be high and we will be eating candy and talking all things Halloween. So that's the current Gabbin' and Games Halloween special. And then, of course, we're going to be doing the Indie Game Showcase live stream. Well, it's a repeat of the live stream, which already happened later this week. Sometimes your solo streams blow, says Mr. K. Can I join the stream like one step below co-host? Look, when I can get Bukkake on a normal schedule. Are you saying, though, Mr. K, does this stream blow? Is that what's happening? If so, give me feedback. Fucking give me feedback. Why is this stream blow? What's happening? While Mr. K is making some shit up that he knows isn't true, did you see this? I got out of the games business making games. I mean, when I was in it, performance capture was all happening. It's not like, but I never really used it. The last game I could have used it on was probably Twisted Metal 2012, but so I never really got into the studio and directed mocap and all that performance capture. But this is on GameSpot. This is really cool. I never thought about how they did this, but they were showing, it's just a little quick clip. I'm not ignoring your comments, Casual Noob Gamer. First off, consider a super chat. I won't ignore that. Not because I'm ignoring other ones, but they actually do help me see it. I saw this one for some reason. Keep posting. I'll see it. Look at this, though. Let me make it bigger. This is how they did the crowd work in Spider-Man. Like, I never really thought about it. I assumed they just did one guy at a time, or maybe one person, and then they were able to, come up with 20 characters for that one person. And I'm sure they do some of that. But, good God, this is kind of cool. You just go in and you just walk around and you talk and they capture it and you're suddenly one of, listen, that's one other thing that this game does so brilliantly. This game, like, we've seen it before, right? We've seen it in games like, I remember Uncharted 4 did the scene in the night, was it the club where Sully and Nathan go into that like mountain auction, like a mountain fortress mansion in the mountains to buy something, or the auction or whatever. And it's like, it's a club, and it's like a lot of people, but it kind of feels like, it's not really there yet. And then I know, like, there've been a lot of games going back to, like, the first one I ever experienced, I think, was a game called Dead to Rights. Or maybe it was one where the guy had a dog and he could jump, and it was from Namco. He could jump like John Woo and it would slow down time. I think that was called Dead to Rights. And you went into a dance club and it was supposed to make you feel like, like, remember in Blade with the underground rave club, and it was like, whoa. And it never works. This is the first game I've played where there are a bunch of places in this. There's one big foundation where the Osborns work. That's all I'll say. There is Coney Island, like somebody had mentioned. And there's a scene in Craven's hideout, Fight Club, Fidelio, Eyes Wide Shut thing going on. All of those are filled with people doing stuff, and it feels the most real I've ever experienced in a video game. It doesn't feel like, oh, they're trying to sell me on you're in a big nightclub. Okay, I get what they're doing, but it feels kind of dumb. Even Starfield has that, like, Neon City or whatever, where you go to the club and everybody's dancing. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. But the crowd scenarios in Spider-Man, like Coney Island and stuff, really feel. I've never seen it done this well. It's quite exceptional. So I was really pleased to see how they did it right here. That was pretty fucking cool. Even Miles' school feels like a school. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Really good. I'm the only one you've heard talk positively, says Capone, on the NPCs. What have people said about them? I mean, I'm not looking to fucking, sit down and take them to dinner. They're just NPCs, but, they're just normal men. We already talked about that. All right, so here's what's coming up. Oh, my timing's really bad. I think we're only going to get to one of these topics, but that's okay. That's okay. At least will kick it off. So we're going to take a small break. The break is going to basically be as long as this song from Alex Plox. Afterwards, I will come back. I will put myself in the Cult Calypso Theater. Mods can join me. Cult Calypso members can join me. God of War members can join me for a roundtable discussion about a handful of gaming topics that are not in the main show. So the show will keep running. I'm just going to take a small break. The show is obviously sponsored by our amazing God of War members, Cult Calypso members, Diet Soda Soldiers. Thank you, fellas, for that. I appreciate it. I don't have to piss. I just need to take a break. I've been sitting here for an hour and a half. I need to clear my fucking head and get back in the game. So put yourself in that room if you want to join me. In the meantime, this is, I'm going to play a different song from Alex. If you go over to Alex's channel over on Spotify or YouTube, you can find a whole library of great, cool synthy stuff. So let me bring that. I'll put Mr. K on the mic. If you want me to put Mr. K on the mic, I can do that right now. I'll put whoever. In fact, I'll tell you what. I will put during the break. I am in the Cult Calypso room. It's called Calypso's Lair. I'm in there right now. Okay, so anybody who's in there will be on the mic. And if you want to join and you want to chat with people, you'll have 5 minutes. Say whatever the fuck you want to say. And when this song is over, we will get back to it. This is Off-Worlds. No, let me play. He's got some moody shit and he's got some banger shit. I like a lot of his stuff. Let's play Off-Worlds. This is a 4-minute song. I will come back and we'll start up again. All right, hang on a second. If it starts, come on now. All right, and if you put yourself in Calypso's Lair, just, know you're live. Don't break any terms of service or anything. All right, I'll be right back, fellas. The fuck just happened? Hang on. Yep, don't do that, Mr. K. But you jump on the mic. I don't care. You seem to want to. This is your audition. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I got nobody in here. I usually get a lot of people in here, at least when it's diet soda, but I can get mods in here. I can get members in here. If not, you just have to put up with me. It'll just be me. That's okay. Or P Turtle, P Turtle can call back now that I'm. Oh, the room's locked. All right, I'm going to put it in the Diet Soda Theater for today. I don't know why it's locked, but I don't want to have to fix it on the fly. Okay, so it's, even though it is the Colton Hire, if you can get into the Diet Soda Theater room, come into the Diet Soda Theater room. All right. Laffy Taffy, yeah.
Weird.
Everybody hates you, and I'm glad your husband died. He probably killed himself.
Hang on.
Oh, I'm hanging.
All right, there we go, fellas. That was Alex Plox doing Off-World instrumental from his album. Check it out on Spotify. I want to get the super chat real quick. I don't have hope, says Maxwell. Thank you for that super chat, buddy, for the new direction Sony's going. But if I was pulling strings, I would put Ted Price CEO and Scott ROHDE as head of PlayStation Studios and Herman in Connie's position. Well, I think there's some good ideas there. I think if you end up doing that, you'll lose Herman because that's a step down for him. But I think Ted, I think ROHDE and Ted definitely need to move up to something where they can spread their seed in more ways. Hey, what's up? Who's on the line? Who is this?
Ravnos.
Well, Ravnos, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Really quick on the Ted Price thing.
Yeah.
I agree with everything there except Ted Price. He's too talented where he's at to be thrown into CEO to where he just sits at a desk.
I don't think that's what a CEO does, though. I mean,
he does really good where he's at. I'm going off of literally. Do you remember David Rubin?
David Rubin, the talk guy?
Co-founder of Naughty Dog.
Oh no, Jason Rubin.
Jason Rubin, yeah, not David. I'm getting up my Rubins mixed up.
Yeah.
Jason Rubin was like really good where he was at, and then he had some issues with the industry, and he called out the industry for it. And then he became CEO of THQ and ran it into the ground. I think a lot of times the people that are truly talented and creative, they're just not cut out to be a CEO or
I agree with you. I'm just saying that I don't think that is. I don't think Ted Price is sitting there, at the whiteboard doing design and storytelling. I think he's making sure the various studios that they own are running really well. But whatever. I mean, it would be great. I think Ted is excellent. I think Cerny is excellent. I think ROHDE, of course, I think the world of. I don't really like, I said this in my video, I don't know Herman Holst, right? So I can meet Herman Holst and he could be my best friend. I don't have anything personal against him, really. I've just heard a couple of stories where he came across in the storytelling. I'm not saying I wasn't there. It's a hearsay. Yeah. As kind of a petty guy. And I didn't like that. And I don't know yet what's happened with Connie, like what really went down. I just know that she's no longer there. And sounds like some of her team, if not all of her team, is no longer there. And if I hear that it's a Herman Holst being a dick kind of thing, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know that. Maybe he begged her to stay and she's just like, no, I'm going to go walk that trail that what's that lady's name? She's in, the Ben and Snap movie. The Legally Blonde girl walked in that movie Walk, where she goes and whatever. Shut up.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, Reese Witherspoon. God damn it. All right, what's going on? I have stuff to talk about, but if you want to talk about something, shoot. What's up? What's on your mind?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to do the spoiler cast of Starfield here because there's probably people that haven't played it.
Do people want a spoiler cast of Starfield? I mean, do people really care? Like, I don't even understand that. I'm going to try to do the Spider-Man review live so people can chime in, but what do you know?
Well, you've talked about how much you love. I said, let's here. You've talked about how much you love it. I just would love to hear like details that obviously would be spoilery.
But I made like a 40-minute video about why I loved it. Was that not enough?
Yeah, I don't know. Sure. Okay.
I'm not saying I won't do it. If people want to do it, I'll do it. I wasn't aware.
Well, I'm probably the only one. I'm pretty sure most people in the Discord are over it.
Did you like Starfield?
I actually did. I don't think it's a great game, but I liked it. I put 200 plus hours into it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I have a lot of issues with it, but the thing is, when the issues don't ruin the experience, then
agree.
That's something.
Let me ask you a question. So this happens every Halloween.
Yep.
Scientists at the Science of Scare project have compiled the scariest movies in existence. 250 participants had heart rate monitors that monitor vitals during each movie. The year's experiment scored on heart rate and heart rate variance. Would you like to know, with all that data, what they decided, statistically speaking, are the top 10 scariest movies of all time?
Yes.
I want you to go ahead and guess 3. Let's see if you can get 3 on the board.
Oh, God. Let's see. We're going off of 250 people. They're probably younger. Is one of them Hereditary?
Yes, that's on the list.
Is one of them...
Admiral says Fern Gully. Yeah, Fern Gully's up there.
Yeah. Is one of them Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Yeah, sure, right.
Oh, Sinister? Is that the name of it?
Mm-hmm. That's on the list. You got 2 of them. I'm not going to tell you where they are, but that's on the list.
Yeah, no. There's got to be one of those paranormal activities, right? Because people are scared of fishing string and sheets. Or no?
I guess so. Insidious, says Mr. K. That is on the list.
I was thinking of Insidious.
Bacon Magma, maybe. I don't like playing story games. He asked if I'm going to consider playing Evil Within 1 this Halloween. I've learned that playing story games on stream is not for me because it gets in the way of me having a valid experience. And then I talk about it and people say, you're an idiot. And then I go back and go, oh yeah, you're right. It was really good. It's very hard for me. What?
Do what some people do where they'll go like, okay, I'm going to stream. You guys can chat. I'll take breaks every once in a while to talk to you guys in the chat.
It's hard. It's hard for me to do that though, because I end up always being aware of the chat and I can't just lose myself to the experience. So, all right, here we go. Number 10, which just came out this year. And I don't know if I would say I was scared by it, but it sure was good. Talk to Me, which if you haven't seen Talk to Me, it's worth it. It's about these kids who find this hand, and when you touch the hand and say certain things, demons can come through, and it's creepy as fuck. Number 9, which you can see over on Shudder, is Hell House LLC. That's a really great movie. Exorcism of Emily Rose. I've not seen that. Number 8. Number 7 I've not seen is Smile. Number 6 is Hereditary, like Ravnos guessed. I thought there were moments in that movie that were really cool. I did not think it was scary. It was a little disturbing. And the ending made no fucking sense, but it is what it is. Number 5, The Conjuring. I get that. Number 4, Insidious. I get that. Number 3 is brand new to the list, which I haven't watched, but the trailer scared the shit out of me, and I never get scared in movies. This scared the shit out of me, the trailer, which was Skinamarink, which was the In This House trailer. That trailer was great, but I hear the movie's a dog slog to get through, so I don't plan on watching it. But that's number 3. Number 2 is new. I watched this year. This is what got me to do a seance last Halloween. The movie Host, which is about these girls who get together during the pandemic and have a seance online. And if you have not seen it, it is batshit. Have you seen the motion picture show Host, Ravnos?
No, I have not.
If you have Shudder, you have access to it, go watch that. It's a good fucking scary movie. The number 1 is the same number 1 as last year. I don't know why people think this movie's scary. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was insane, and certainly not that scary. Is Sinister, the movie with Kevin Bacon, as the writer moves into the house, discovers the box of old Super 8 movies. I just didn't.
This is what scares people?
That's the number one. That's the number one. Scare score was a 96. People's blood pressure went up, spiked to 130, 131. It spiked to.
Have, like loud noises and jump scares because
Not Kevin Bacon, Ethan Hawke. You're right, Gravedigger. Sorry.
Yeah, because physiologically, even if you're not frightened by what you're seeing, a loud noise in a theater or at home or in the dark when you're alone, that will get your heart rate up. Whether it's a scary movie or it's a pan falling off of a rack in your kitchen.
Sure. Yeah. No, it will. But I think they're not only judging that. They start with average heart rate, average movie. So for example, Sinister has an average movie heart rate, even though the average resting heart rate is 64 beats per minute for these people. If you watch Sinister, the average heart rate for the whole movie goes up to 86. Whereas if you watch, say, the lowest one is Talk to Me, it's at 79. So there's a couple of different points they're using to determine. Okay. So,
I mean, the movie I thought was scary when I was a kid, no one would find scary these days. It's The Exorcist.
I didn't find it scary. I had never seen The Exorcist, and then I finally saw it about 3 years ago, and I was like, but I appreciate it because I know what it brought that wasn't there before.
Go to Catholic school, so.
Tell me this. I'm go ahead.
A little harder.
What's a little harder?
The Exorcist. It just hits a little harder when you go to Catholic school.
Oh, I imagine it would. To me, the movie Communion about the alien abduction scared the shit out of me as a kid. Let me show you this. I want you to tell me. I don't know if any of you guys have been to Halloween Horror Nights and gone through the Last of Us haunted house. This person put up a HD walkthrough. I'm gonna mute myself. I have not watched this yet. Oh, Fupy says Prince of Darkness. I want to see.
Oh, I love that movie.
I want to see Prince of Darkness, and I want to see In the Mouth of Madness. I remember walking out of Prince of Darkness when I was a kid, but I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so this is the Last of Us walkthrough at Universal Halloween Horror Nights. I went live last year. I was like, I was kind of disappointed, but let's watch this one and then let's talk about it. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to take myself off the screen, and I'll be back on the other side of this 4-minute video.
All right.
Please subscribe, hit the like button, fire it up. I'm the main host, Mondo. Let's do this.
What did the mermaid wear to her math class?
Please don't.
An algae bra. Get it? Algae bra?
Pretty good.
Keep moving.
I don't think these guys were infected.
Damn hunters. Come on. We need to keep moving. I'm on my way up to you.
Don't die on me! Joel! You okay?
Stay up there. I'm on my way up to you.
Don't die on me!
Stay up there. I'm on my way up to you.
This is actually them just simulating crunch at Naughty Dog. I'll go back to the video now.
Joel! Over here!
The sewer!
This place stinks. Ugh, this place stinks.
Jesus.
They're here. So, this is awkward. So, this is awkward.
I got him! Get out of here! Keep running! Get out of here! Don't stop! Keep running! Don't stop! Keep running!
Other side, guys.
It better! Go!
You kidding me? Thanks for the warning on the other side, guys.
Jaffe's here. I'm coming in after the video.
Thanks for the warning on the other side, guys.
That was not great. I don't think that was very impressive. Now, Mr. K actually went. He said it was good. So, I mean, obviously those things are better in person, but it's pretty fucking rare that, you know, it's not Makami Manor. Let's put it that way. Jaffe, you never talked about RoboCop. I did play it. I played the demo. I liked it. I need to go back to it. I'm busy with so many other games. JJD, he says, if Freddy, Jason, Mike Myers, Chucky, Pinhead, anyone I didn't think of, all tried to kill each other, who wins? Probably Pinhead is what I would say. I have not played Phantom Liberty yet. No, I'm going to, but that's my Thanksgiving game. Okay, last topic. It's a controversial one. I think. I don't know. What do you think about this, Ravnos? I don't know if you've heard about this. What do you think about this, chat? Listen to this. Remington, you know, the people who make the guns, use Call of Duty to promote weapons to younger players. This is a story that came out recently because of all the lawsuits or the FTC case or the, not FTC, was it FTC? Doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. Buying the Activision. Newly released documents have given us a rare inside look at how gun manufacturers have tried to use games to promote their wares to younger people, specifically players of Activision's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The memos and emails are from a now defunct U.S. gun company, Remington. They were basically trying, and I think in one case they succeeded in getting their guns in, or at least one of their branded guns into the game. Bobby Kotick and Remington wanted to keep that quiet. They didn't want people.
Wonder why?
Well, you know, there's a lot of these gun companies that are being sued, successfully or not. I don't know, from the mass shootings. The fact the rifle was so popular in Call of Duty was shocking. They say it was essentially the only positive thing anyone had to say about the ACR. The product was eventually discontinued. Okay, so anyway, there you go. So here's the question. The obvious question is, do you think, you know, because I've seen some of the comments, and there's a lot of people in this country, at least in America, that love their guns, and that's fine, within reason, I suppose. But do you think putting weapons from real manufacturers in order to glamorize them, in order to basically advertise them in a video game that we know, even though it's an M-rated game, that kids are going to play, is acceptable? We've gotten rid of a lot of people smoking in games. We've gotten rid of What's the other thing? There's not a lot of drug use in a lot of games. Is this okay or is it not okay? What do you think?
How did they glamorize it? Like, was there something in the game that?
Well, giving you a gun that you can run around and kick people's ass with, I assume, is what they mean by glamorizing it.
But I mean, well, I don't really have a problem with it. Here's what. Like you said, it's an M-rated game. Yes, there's always going to be bad parents, whatever. But the simple fact is, there's tons of guns in that game. It's a game about, it's a Mr. Sergeant Shooter, Master Sergeant Shooter person guy game. So.
Yeah, but hang on. I want to be clear. I'm not saying there's a problem having the guns in the game. I'm saying
I think it's gross that there's internal memos where they were like, "Ooh, we want the kids hooked on our gun." That's a little gross.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's not so much that they used real guns. It's that there was a concerted, concentrated effort to say, Xbox, God damn it, it will be Activision. Let us pay you. Because we want to market our guns and get younger people excited about our brand of weapons, so when they go into the real world, they can purchase them. That's more of the question, not the fact that should they be able to put a real gun in a game.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really pass the smell test, and at the same time, they didn't do anything illegal.
No, but is it immoral? Like, I mean, I believe in the Second Amendment with limits. I think there aren't enough limits on it, but I think, I don't have a problem with people owning guns if we can put Alexa stop, we can put the limits on it. But I don't know, it seems to me like I don't know, maybe not I don't fucking know.
My whole thing is, if we're gonna have a Second Amendment and we're gonna allow people to have guns, then they aren't really breaking any law. I mean, they might have been inadvertently circumventing laws about advertising to children, but technically, the laws were broken by, not laws, but the games aren't meant for kids. When Activision makes the game, they're not like, how can we get all the little Johnnies and Susies to play our game? It's more like, they try to make it as realistic as possible.
Sure, but they know kids are playing it. I mean, the idea that, we put a rating on God of War, all the God of Wars, but don't think we weren't like, but we know people are going to play them that are younger, What about okay? So move guns off the table. What if it was alcohol? What if it was a game that was big and successful that made sense to have characters, glamorizing actual alcoholic brands? Do you think that if they were like, we want to target kids so when they start drinking in college they'll buy Smirnoff or whatever, is that bad or is it the same thing?
I mean, I think it's all pretty gross. I just don't know the legality of it.
Oh, I think it's legal. I mean, I think, I imagine it's legal.
Adult beverages or nicotine products to children. So
that's different in terms of if you consciously, you're right. If you consciously say, like, I know the cigarette companies had to get rid of Camel Joe or whatever his name was and all that shit.
Flavored cigarettes. Yeah, they had to get rid of that too.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was kids so much as it was apparently it's really just bad for you beyond normal. But maybe it was. I don't know. Somebody in the chat is saying, Think More says, what about putting LGBT propaganda in the games? Well, here's what I would say to you.
That's not even propaganda.
Well, yeah, here's what I would say to you on that. I get the analogy or I get the comparison. I don't happen to agree with it. But I imagine if you are a pretty right-wing human, at least in America, you would say that you think the LGBT quote agenda, which is just don't kill us, please, let us live our lives. But that's not what a lot of right-wing people think it is worse. Okay. And in that, sure, if you could prove that, which you can't, there's a lot about what I just said you can't prove because it's not real, but assuming what you were claiming was happening and it's like it's a video game that's designed to make you susceptible to groomers and, groomers know that there's a certain, weapon that you can use that kids really want and that will get them talking in chat and stuff. Sure. Because that's what a lot of people think the LGBT agenda is, which is insane.
Well, that's because a lot of people are fucking idiots and still believe in magic sky fairies. But
Yeah.
the point is,
You know, I mean, there's
if
that,
it's-
but not entirely that, but yeah.
What me and Darth Nugget had discussion in the Discord yesterday. There's a difference between a game having a lesbian, having a trans character, having gays, having even a gay nightclub, or a quest where you have to get a gay kid to a prom to dance for the boy. Whatever. But you know what? As long as they're not preaching and trying to, like...
I mean,
I'm not a groomer thing, because most groomers are actually adult males that are heterosexual, supposedly. But, you know, as long as it's not sitting there preaching the tenets of, oh, it's so good to be gay, just come out, even if you're just a little curious, just embrace your queerness.
Do you know any gay or trans people?
Do I know? Yeah, my daughter is a lesbian.
Okay, because the reason I was going to say this is it's like that scenario you just painted is kind of like, you know, my son says this all the time. He's like, okay, you know, because I have a trans son, and it's like, he's like, where, you know, I grew up with all of the hetero and gender normative stuff that his sister did. Disney Channel and this and that. There was no trans agenda, you know.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But so like, the idea that even if you preached it to somebody,
that's just different.
You know.
I've seen games like crucified for being woke and having an agenda, when literally the agenda was, oh, look, this NPC in a Mass Effect Andromeda, it makes a reference to, I used to be a male. That's it. And people are like, oh my god, it's pushing the thing. Why? Or, you know, look at Hell's Babyface as moron.
Here's what I'll tell those folks, and this is the last I'll say about it, at least before I breathe again. You know, is this, which is, if a lot of these people who have a problem with the art and the products that get created that have this agenda, then figure out a way to educate in your schools, a way to promote being an artist and a creator amongst people who are more conservative. I mean, the reason you see it is most people who do this kind of creative work tend to be progressives. That doesn't mean they're LGBT, but they tend to be open-minded, and they have lots of different people in their lives that are different on all kinds of spectrums, and it's like, that's just normal for people like us. But if conservatives have a problem with it, I don't blame conservatives, because it's like, look, if the biggest thing you guys can hang your hat on is Scott Baio and John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard back in the 80s, of course you're going to be going, Jesus, could we get some fucking talent up in here? I get it.
Well, the thing is this, though. Where does it end then? Are they going to say now, oh my god? Because I've seen this too. Like, I'm not even kidding, Jeffy. People were attacking Starfield for being woke, not because of the pronoun.
Because the bathrooms or something?
In New Atlantis?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Where are all the white people? Have white people gone extinct? Why is everybody black or Asian? Oh my god. It's like, dude. It's like, you do realize that black people really exist in real life. So do Asians and Hispanics and gays and lesbians and trans. So if that's pushing an agenda to have a game that looks like reality, maybe fuck off and stop playing video games because you're too immature to handle it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But you know what? I want to try my best to keep politics off this channel, though.
That's not political, though. Why is people exist?
I agree. And anybody who comes to this channel knows that it is a safe space for hopefully everybody, but certainly people who tend to be marginalized by much more far-right voices. But that said, though, you know, I don't know. It'd be nice to, you know, save that for the other channel and just stay, because, you know, some people say to me, and I get it, they're like, I don't want to talk about that today. It's not that it's not important. I just want to talk about video games, man. And I get it. P Turtle, if you
That's the answer.
I don't have a lot of time because I'm about to go on Colt Eastwood's show, so I got 10 minutes, P Turtle. P Turtle wants to come in. No, you know what, P Turtle, here's the deal. You can come in if the conversation is video games. I'm not going to do politics and all that shit with you. So if you want to come in, I will drag you into the room and you can talk with me and Ravnos. Of course, anybody who's a member can come in and join this conversation, absolutely. But what I can't do is I don't want to get into politics on this show. So come on in, put yourself in the call-in waiting room, and I'll drag your old bones in here.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
All right, let's see. Get ready, Ravnos. Here it goes.
Yeah.
I think. Is he coming?
Yeah. Speed Turtle, baby.
Where is? Let's go. Let's go. Here he is. Okay. Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
P Turtle, you're in with me and Ravnos. What's up, man?
Hold on. I could have sworn I put this on. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. What's going on?
What's going on, baby?
Just doing a show. Talk to me. What do you want to talk about?
Well, now that I can't talk about the trans thing, I guess I can talk to you about what I was calling before. Which I don't know why you weren't bringing me in.
Keep going. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about Spider-Man 2.
Okay. Great game. Love it.
I know no spoilers and all that, blah, blah, blah.
Right. No spoilers.
It's one of the wokest
It is very woke.
I've ever seen in my life.
It is a very woke video game in terms of if you call woke.
It's the old school woke.
There's a lot of a lot of diversity.
Aware of reality type of thing.
Well, it is. I mean, it is.
That's what woke means.
Yeah, sure, but
Or the right stole it.
It depends where you live, right? So if you look at,
I live on Earth.
I know, but if you look at Redfield, for example, there's nothing about the town of Redfield that screams it is populated by a lot of folks who are left-leaning progressive thinkers. It doesn't mean they're all shit kicker right wing, but they just don't deal with it. Whereas Spider-Man 2 is like love it, leave it, hate it, marry it, we don't give a fuck, but this is us. And there are nods to the LGBT community. Yeah. There's a lot of diversity in there in terms of race and abilities and disabled folks. In fact, even his girl, hang on, let me just finish. I want to let people know who haven't played it what we're talking about. Miles's girlfriend from the first game in the second game, Haley, she's deaf. There's always like an on-screen sign language person. There's the kid in the wheelchair. It's all represented, and whether or not that's a far left liberal fantasy or that's normal depending on where you live, or that's offensive depending on where you live. Whatever.
Where does P Turtle live again?
He lives in New York City. He lives in New York.
Okay, New York City, is it diverse?
Yeah.
And isn't New York City where they had the foundational issues with the gay nightclubs and the fighting? I can't remember, is the wall something where literally the gays would have to like beat the shit out of straight dudes that were anti-gay that would come in there and try to kill them?
Are you talking about Stonewall?
Yeah, Stonewall. Was that in New York? Maybe I'm wrong.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, so in other words, would you say that the Manhattan and the boroughs that were added in Spider-Man 2, full disclosure, I haven't played it, don't own it. I'm currently playing Miles. Does it kind of represent what you see in real life in New York City, or is it glorifying gay culture to a degree?
Certain parts, it obviously is doing a fine job. But you know what also is in New York? The headquarters for NAMBLA. You know what I'm saying? Not all that progressive stuff is good. This is so. Maybe
there's no NAMBLA. There's no NAMBLA in Spider-Man.
Maybe Spider-Man 3, you'll be able to hook up a little boy with a guy.
Okay, but wait a second though. Are you suggesting in Spider-Man there's a NAMBLA character or a NAMBLA mission or something?
No, what I'm saying is if you want to use New York as the example of diversity, well, that's in New York as well. And maybe in Spider-Man 3, they'll introduce a side mission where you can hook a little boy up.
What about
with the guy?
What about what are they called? Not the X-Men. What are the teen X-Men who work at the but they go to the class, the fucking Xavier's mansion. So when
The
you
Xavier's School for Extraordinary Students.
yeah. So Kitty Pryde is in the game as a cameo. You can't play her, but when you got to her, P Turtle, she's in high school. Is that what you're talking about? Like that's bad form?
What are you talking about? I didn't understand that question.
Okay, have you played Spider-Man 2?
Yes, I beat it.
Okay, you know how you can do the side missions and you can do the Xavier School for Gifted Students, like you just swing by? Kitty Pryde is in the game. You can't play her. She's just like in a cutscene. But
No.
they're in high school.
You're lying. I'll tell you what takes place in a school.
I just wanted to make sure that you actually had played it, and this wasn't a Starfield.
I learned my lesson.
Okay, all right, go.
People on Xbox.
Yeah.
Call me a pedophile.
All right, keep going though. What were you asking in Spider-Man? What happens in Spider-Man 2 that you have a problem with?
I'm saying I saw. Well, again, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a crazy gay side mission. Crazy gay, right? Did you do that mission?
I must not have, because I don't know what you guys. Wait, guys in the chat.
So that's fine.
I'm gonna mute. Just close your ears for the next 8 seconds. Okay, ready, and close your ears. P Turtle, what was it? What was the side mission? Quickly.
You play as Miles, and you go to a high school, and you basically got to hook up some black young boy with an Indian boy, and you help them like date each other and go to what is it called? Like homecoming or prom.
Okay,
or something?
okay, stop. Okay, that's enough. So no more spoilers. That's a crazy gay side mission. The fact that one of the missions is you helping your two fellow students who happen to be gay going to a dance.
Yes.
Why is
am
that?
I playing a Spider-Man game and that's a side mission? I should be kicking ass.
You then don't do that mission. Spider-Man has always Spider-Man has always been. Marvel Comics have always been about inclusivity and progressive agendas. I mean, he was created by two fucking New York liberal leftist Jews. What do you think? What do you think he was created by? The ancestors of Tucker Carlson? I mean, that's what Marvel has always been, with Black Panther and Guardian from Alpha Flight, the first Marvel gay superhero. I mean, what do you know? This is not a company that is historically.
Is that a main mission?
What's that?
No, that was a side mission. And
So
I
it's
don't know
optional?
why people are not talking about Miles' girlfone being ugly. I mean,
She's not ugly.
Just as ugly as Mary Jane. Go ahead.
I don't think she's ugly.
Is it an option?
You don't even like black girls, and that's not even a good-looking black girl.
I didn't say I wanted to date her, A, because she's underage, and B, because it's not my cup of tea, but I don't look at her.
You would have to assume,
Because
let me
she's
say this
not
real
a real
quick.
person.
You would have to assume, considering she's deaf, she has to give, like, the best hand jobs.
Hey, you don't think that chick's good looking?
She's not, but go ahead.
Do you think she's ugly?
Absolutely. If she was walking down the street, I would not look back. If she dropped her groceries, I would not help her pick up those groceries.
Okay, but to be fair, P Turtle, you weigh 380 pounds and you ride around on one of those scooters. You can't help anybody pick up their groceries.
I have a nice car, my friend, and I make good money, and women like me. I have a 17-year-old girlfriend. Go ahead.
That's not a woman. That's a
Your
girl.
sister doesn't count, and neither does your mother, P Turtle.
I don't have a sister, thank the Lord.
I think you've remember this is a deep. This is a deep cut, but I'll wrap it with this. If you ever saw the final episode of MASH on TV, and Hawkeye Pierce was in the bus, and he told this lady to keep her fucking chicken quiet because the bad guys would hear. And she broke the chicken's neck and killed it. And suddenly he ends up being in a mental hospital because it turns out he was lying to himself because he couldn't handle the trauma of the truth, which was it was a baby. He basically told the mother to shut her fucking baby up or the whole bus was going to get bombed and they die. So the baby's dead. Hawkeye feels responsible. He went crazy. The reason I tell this story is that 17-year-old girl that you're stooping, that's your sister. Your mind won't let you recognize it. Your mind won't tell you it's the goddamn truth, but that is your sister. And the only other woman who'll talk to you is your mother, and that's when she's screaming from upstairs to come up and eat dinner and eat grilled cheese sandwich.
Fair enough, Jaffe. I'm going to go. I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
when you do the Spider-Man review,
Yeah.
you gotta have me on. You gotta have me on.
You being
'Cause I
louder
need to
and
express how
emphasizing
bad
certain
this
words
is.
every time you say the sentence again does not compel me to get you on. Why would I want you on?
Did you like the game, Peter?
No, I thought it was one of the worst AAA games I've ever experienced in my life. The combat was trash. The graphics are okay. The story was awful. Awful.
Loved this game. Loved the story.
You do. You like Miles Morales more than you like the original.
I did love that game. Think more. Listen to this. Think more in the chat. I think he's trolling though. Tell me if this is a troll. He says, "I hate groomers and pedophiles." How is that being hard right wing? It's not. And if you actually think, and if you actually think, that
Groomers.
promoting groomers and pedophiles is a position of the left or the progressives, then I really invite you to rejoin us in reality.
It's statistically proven it's not a thing of gay or
It's not even worth. It's not even worth talking about. It is. It is.
Arrested pedophiles were registered Republicans.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And the diets of Ravnos, P Turtle. Thanks for joining me. But Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. All right, fellas. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm going to get back to the chat. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Later.
So what we'll do is, like I said, on most of the shows now, I'll try to do, if people like it, you may not like it. Let me know in the comments or right now if you like this back of the show. We bring on anybody who's a member at the Cult Calypso level or a mod or above, and they can just join into the conversation. So that's kind of what we're going to kind of start doing pretty soon, assuming you guys dig it. Let me know. I will be being zing. I'm going on Colt Eastwood's show in about 30 minutes. Let me give you guys a link to that if you want to join me over there. It sounds like we're going to be talking about Xbox show on Wednesday and what's coming for Xbox this year. Anytime for your thoughts on Last Stand Media, Easy Allies. Yeah, I've been asked that. I mean, look, I'm a fan of Last Stand Media. I like Colin a great deal. I like Dustin a great deal. I don't know Chris Regan that well, but from what I've interacted with, I like him. I'm a huge Gene Park fan. I'm only just now getting to know Colin's future wife in a couple of days. I know her name is Micah, not Mika, but I'm going to continue to call her Mika because I think it annoys Colin. I'm sure I'm missing a couple other ones. Ben Smith and it's not Voldemort. Who's the guy who does the edits? I dig those guys. I'm a fan. I don't really know Easy Allies. I get the sense in the past, at least when some folks were there, they were never a fan of mine. But whatever, that doesn't mean I'm not going to like them. But I don't really have much to say other than, if you are taking your marching orders from Reset era, and maybe, maybe most of their Patreons are Reset era types that you just have to play to your base. I don't know. But I don't think Dustin has ever done, he's so mild-mannered. The fact that they would throw him under the bus, that seems weird. So all I know is what Colin and Dustin said on Sacred Symbols Plus. I've clicked around on the Reset era thread to get a little bit more insight, but I think Dustin's a great dude from what I know, and that somebody would have a problem. I mean, there does seem to be this kind of narrative or idea that if you are friends with X, then you must be you must agree with everything that person thinks. And I think that's just so limited, and I think that's so childish. And so it sounds, but I don't know Easy Allies' position, but from listening to Last Stand, it sounds like that is what's happening here, and I don't really have a lot of time for that. Am I team Sniper Wolf or Jack? I'm Jack's Films all the way. Because my kids watched it when they were growing up, and he's really fucking funny. B, she sounds like a fucking nightmare. Okay. All right, fellas, that's it. That's Cabin Games for today. The rest of the week, we'll be doing shows. We'll be doing our Halloween special. We'll be watching the indie game stream, horror game stream, and more episodes. But I will get back to you guys. Just follow me at David Scott Jaffe on Twitter or here on the YouTube and stay abreast, or on our Discord. RPG, thank you for modding today. Mr. K, thank you for modding. RPG just put all the info down there in the link tree if you want to have links to those places. And in the meantime, we are going, hopefully we'll have Bukkake Drive-By co-hosting or whatever we call it he's doing, being part of the show tomorrow. People seem to like it when he comes on. And there you go. Be well, everybody. This is Quake Zone Rumble from our very own Alex Plux. If it'll play. Come on now. Come on now. Be well, you motherfuckers. I don't really know what the fuck is happening. Just pretend the music's playing and it's great. See you guys. Oh, come on, Sean. Come on. Remember that time in the bathroom? I did you that solid? Come on, man.